I must warn you, I'm not very good at this sort of thing.
Well, don't worry. The only people who's going to see this is your family.
Aye, and you in the US military.
Will you give it a shot?
What shall I say?
I miss you. I wish you were here.
I wish who was here?
I don't know. Who do you wish were here?
Nobody. I wish I wasn't bloody here.
Doc, I got a lot of people I gotta get to.
All right, I suppose I could say hello to my mother.
Good. There you go. All right. You ready? Okay, go.
Hello, Mum. I hope this message finds you well. I trust your petunias are in full bloom by now. Oh, and I do hope you're keeping up with the ointment I gave you. If you've adhered to the regime, the fungus should have cleared up by now. What's wrong?
Dude, fungus?
On her toenails. I thought you said no one would watch us except my family.
Yeah, but fungus.
What then shall I talk about?
I don't know. It's your mother. Tell her you love her.
No, I can't do that. I get all emotional.
So?
She's very delicate, my mother. As sweet as a soul as you'll ever meet. As pure as the driven snow. If I get upset, then she'll get upset, and I can't have that.
It's not like we're live, Doc. If you don't like what we put on tape, you can always go back and do it again.
We can?
Sure.
Oh. Well, I suppose I could do that then.
All right. Here, go.
Mum? I missed you terribly. I can't do this!
Compassionate, brave, sweet, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Just some of the words that you have used to describe Dr. Beckett. Dr. Carson Beckett is the youngest of 7 children and who loves his mother dearly and comes from the great land of Scotland. Even on his uniform it has the flag of Scotland and not of the United Kingdom, which can give us a little bit of an insight into his political views about Scottish independence. Having at one point an ancient ancestor, Dr. Beckett had the gene in order to use ancient technology, and he was actually second in line in order to use the chair device. And he developed a gene therapy so that people who don't have the gene can use ancient technology. This had a 46% success rate, which got raised up later to 48%. Dr. Beckett got selected as the chief medical officer of the Starship Enterprise. No, wait, sorry. Of Atlantis. I was a little confused because during the show we got to hear exactly what Dr. Beckett was not, but that he was a doctor.
I'm a bloody medical doctor, not a magician!
You can do it.
Tell her!
If we can help, we must.
Oh, crap.
Dr. Beckett was both good in the surgery room as well as in the research department. Not only did he work on the ancient gene therapy, but he also worked on the deadly Hoffen drug, a drug that would render a person immune to wraith feeding. However, the first mass marketing, which he was against, killed 50% of the people that were injected with the drug, and later the Hoffens got that down to 1/3. Dr. Beckett was extremely ethical in this manner and wanted to do more and more trials to make sure that the drug was safe for widespread use and to not have people die in the process. This is a prime example of Dr. Beckett's ethics, a person who has sworn to do no harm first off, and who takes that very seriously. So much so that he's almost a pacifist, except for that time where he killed a wraith that was going to kill Ronan, and except for that time where, you know, he had to help take back over Atlantis. You know, and except for, you know, another time or two, but those are pretty rare. Overall, he's, you know, a peace-loving guy, and he wants people to be nice to each other and heal each other and not hurt each other. Dr. Beckett has a self-sacrificing nature. He's willing to put himself through the absolute ringer if it means helping other people. This is seen in one thing when he meets Ronan for the first time, where he agrees to take a tracker out of his back while he is holding a gun to Taylor's head, and, you know, really close to shooting her because one little slip of the trigger and goodbye Taylor. Going off of the idea that the Wraith developed when an Aratus bug and a human DNA mixed together, forming the Wraith over time, he believed that he could use a treatment in order to remove the Wraith DNA, thus leaving only the human DNA. This was rather successful, not perfect, but it was rather successful. He was able to develop this in both a liquid and a gaseous form. However, Beckett did not form this drug to be used as a military weapon, but rather to treat what he viewed as an unnecessary state of being. This retrovirus had the side effect of wiping out memory, meaning that you could theoretically implant a false identity into a former Wraith person. This tended to have mixed results and severely bad consequences. For example, making an enemy that was a major pain in the butt for Atlantis, that in the Wraith known as Michael. So although this drug was in development, by the time the show ended, it never really got put into widespread use and was successful. Although it was tested on a hive and had limited, rather good results, a one-time treatment could not cut it. Instead, the person had to be injected with the serum daily in order to keep their human form. Perhaps one of the things that made Dr. Beckett extremely unique, and that we could definitely see his compassion for the human race, is that he was Rodney's best friend. Rodney, the giant pain in the butt, the egotistical, maniacal, well, this episode isn't about him, that comes later on. These two were actually the closest things to best friends they had in their time of Atlantis, so much so that Dr. Beckett valued the friendship a lot more than Rodney did until Rodney didn't have it anymore. Dr. Beckett died in a massive freaking explosion by an exploding tumor, of all things, on the episode entitled Sunday. This came as a shock to all fans, and in fact we were so in shock about it that the next episode was all about grieving that character's loss. Dr. Beckett's remains were laid to rest in his homeland of Scotland. However, this was not the end of Dr. Beckett, since Michael got a bit of his DNA and created a clone of Dr. Beckett with his memories. Now, this cloning technology was not exactly perfect, so that when the clone of Dr. Beckett was taken back from Michael and threw everyone into shock, because after all, Dr. Beckett was dead at that point, they had to find a way to make the cloning process more stable, so he didn't have to have daily injections of whatever kept the clone stable. This ended up being resolved, and Dr. Beckett helped out again in the Pegasus galaxy after kind of coming to terms with the fact that he was dead. His chief concern, however, was about his mother and how she would take the news that he was dead and that he is now alive. Of course, this is problematic since it's Atlantis and everything is super secret. The Dr. Beckett clone, or rather Dr. Beckett, because it is Dr. Beckett, but not really. But Dr. Beckett later went on to help more people in the Pegasus galaxy and on Atlantis, and led a pinnacle role in helping to save Earth from the super hive. So let me know what you think about Dr. Beckett in the comment section down below, and if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Great videos are coming out every week where I talk to you about everything and anything Stargate. You can click right here for another character profile, or right here for some more Stargate awesomeness. Thank you to everyone who bought me a cup of coffee this week, who has helped me out, and until next time, I'll see you on the other side.